Lamborghini Revuelto. I don't know how to pronounce it, so just destroy me in the comments right now. But today we're going for a drive of the M4 CSL. We're going to talk about the new V12 Lamborghini, what everybody's thoughts on it were, what my thoughts on it are, and what I think the future is going to look like for that car. So yeah, the Revuelto, however you say it, but the new V12 Lambo. Now, we saw this car in person, sat in it, took a really close look, you know, really spent some time with the car about 2 weeks ago at the Canadian premiere. And my reviews, along with a lot of other people's reviews, are that the car doesn't feel like much of a V12 Lambo. Has some McLaren characteristics, looks a little too soft, doesn't look as big and aggressive as a V12 Lambo. Looks like it could actually be something more like a Huracan. Now, despite what I currently think of the car, what everybody else currently thinks of the car, it doesn't matter. And this is why it doesn't matter. So the V12 Lambo has always been not just the flagship of Lamborghini, but kind of the flagship of supercars in general. Probably the car we talk about the most, kind of the supercar when you think about supercar, would be the Aventador right now. And the Aventador is a 10-year-old car that's been outdated ever since it came out. With the single clutch transmission, it's a bit of a clunker. It's not like a great car to drive. It's more of a status car rather than a performance car that's supposed to keep up with the competition. And if we're really being honest, that's kind of what supercars are for. So the reason I don't think it matters what I think of the car, what you think of the car, and not only do I not think it matters, I think we're going to change our mind about the car, is because every V12 Lambo has always had its issues when it's come out. The Aventador came out with a single clutch transmission when the 458 at the time was a way better driving car with a dual clutch. The car was too big, too heavy. Very quickly the interior started feeling outdated. It was more about the looks, the status, is the fact that you're buying the V12 Lambo, the most expensive Lambo, and that's why the car was loved. You know, the Murcielago wasn't that great to drive. Neither was the Countach, the Diablo. I'm not too sure about the Miura. But these cars they have two crowds of people that buy them, and because of that, they'll always live on, and they're always going to have kind of a place, and they're always going to be popular. So let's talk about the first people that buy them. The first owners of the car, those are usually the people that are buying the car for status. They might not be the biggest car enthusiasts, but the people that are going to buy the new Lambo, they're going to be the people that are driving right now the SVJs. They're going to be the people that somewhat know about cars, they like cars, but again, they're not full enthusiasts that are collecting these older cars. They want to have the best, newest, baddest thing. They're going to buy this car. And those guys don't really care if it looks like a McLaren, if it looks like this. Like, they're not all about the heritage and you have to keep it the way it's supposed to be. You know, they just want to buy the top of the line supercar, and that's what they're going to buy regardless of what that car is. And what's going to happen after that, once the car starts aging and different versions come out, and even in 10 years when the replacement comes out, the people that are going to buy that are the real collectors, real enthusiasts, because it's going to be a car that represents the era that we're in right now. You know, the reason the Countach is as popular as it is, as expensive as it is because it represents the 70s, the 80s, like the time of absolute madness in the supercar world. Like, I've never driven a Countach. Some people say it's good to drive, some people say it's bad to drive, but regardless, it doesn't matter. That car represents something. The value is not so much in the driving, it's more in what the car is. And to some people, that's more important, especially when these cars don't get driven that much. It's not a Porsche. You're not going to see these with super high mileage as often as you'd see, you know, a GT3 or a GT2. Now, the one benefit I think this Lambo has that the other ones didn't really ever have is this thing on paper, on track, on everything is going to keep up with the competition. Nobody really had too much of an answer for the SF90, and this is it. This is a new Lambo that's got the up-to-date technology. It came out and it's not outdated already. The car is, you know, it's a good competition for an SF90, and people that are buying SF90s might want something a little more flashy. And whereas before there was no option, now they have the option, and they can buy the 1,000 horsepower supercar with hypercar performance, but also have the outside looks, and it's not going to look like a Ferrari F8, which sadly the SF90 kind of does. So the great thing about this car, the reason that I know I'm going to change my mind about it, and again, it's not that I hate it, it's just that I know it's going to grow on me. Every new car that comes out is kind of hated at first. It's very rare that a car comes out and it's just universally loved. The car I'm driving right now, the M4 CSL, still fully hasn't grown on people, but when it first came out, everybody hated the look of it, and now people are kind of okay with it. Same thing's going to happen with this, and this is not as bad as the M4 and the M3 were. So people are going to love these, and in the future, you're going to have the SV versions, the S's, the SVJs, the, you know, there's going to be probably 6, 7, 8 versions of this car over 10 years. if they're starting with 1,000 horsepower, dual clutch, all-wheel drive, hybrid, the potential for this car is just through the moon. We're gonna have unbelievable performance from like the show-off Lambo, which is gonna mean you're gonna have the supercar that can do it all, and that kind of allows you to buy the car for driving purposes, and that's probably gonna mean we're gonna see them around more, because to take out an Aventador, you're not gonna go take it out to daily. You know, some people do, but that's not really the ideal car for that. This car is gonna be easy to drive. It's gonna have the good performance. You're not gonna be like, you know what, today I just wanna drive something a little faster, a little more sharp, because this will be your sharp, fast car, which the Lambos have never been. Now, not only that, yes, it has a hybrid, it's gonna have all these different versions. This car and all its versions are probably gonna be regarded as more important cars than the Aventador that actually came before it. I know we're very used to the Aventador, but that's just because we've had the Aventador for 10 years. So it's something that's kind of stuck in our brain, but this is gonna be here for probably just as long. And chances are this is going to be the last combustion engine flagship Lambo, and it's still a V12. Yes, added a hybrid, but you still get that V12 noise, the V12 feeling. They didn't ruin the car. I think, if anything, they made the car a lot better. Now, the one issue is the car is starting at about $1 million Canadian out the door, you know, including taxes, luxury tax, and all that here in Canada. So you're spending SVJ prices for the starting model, the new model. I don't think that's going to last, especially for the regular production model. So these at least are going to go down at first. But the versions that are going to come out after, the SVJs, all that, probably going to have 1,200 horsepower, whatever it is. Those are going to just, I think, fly up in value, because you're going to truly have hypercar performance in a supercar. So because of this platform, the hypercars or limited production cars that Lamborghini makes finally won't just be about the look and exclusivity. Now they can use the platform with a hybrid and the dual clutch to actually get some real performance out of their cars, which means that from now on, the Lamborghini exclusive cars that are 20 of, 60 of, whatever it is, can probably actually keep up performance-wise with the McLaren hypercars, the Ferrari hypercars, all the serious track cars that are just the fastest cars in the world. This is not just going to be about looks and exclusivity anymore. In conclusion, it doesn't matter what I think of the car, what you think of the car, what you think of the car, because no matter what, I'm willing to bet you that in 2 years' time, when they're on the road and we're used to them, it's going to be the car. This is going to be one of the most loved, most popular supercars on the market. We're going to get hyped every time a new version comes. And at the end of production cycle, we're probably going to look back at this current model and be like, oh, that was a clean-looking one, the same way we look at the LP700 Aventador now. So I think we should kind of save our comments, save what we say about the car, because in the future, this is going to be the kind of benchmark supercar. This is going to be what you think of when you think of supercars for the next 10 years. This car is going to get ingrained in all of our heads, and it's just going to be the definition of a supercar. So you might not like it now, but you better get used to it, because it's here to stay, and there's going to be so much more to it.